Welcome guys to another episode of The Rise. Now today's going to be a slightly different one. I'm going to be taking you through the full 2025 Precision lineup for the competitive season. And I thought this would be a really good video to do because you're going to see the show days, you're going to see all the behind the scenes in terms of the results, how everyone gets on this season. So I thought it'd be good to do a video running through exactly where everyone's at right now. Some people are mid-prep, some people have just started prep. And it'd also be good to give you an insight on how everyone's prep slightly different. As even myself, I do a lot of videos on here in terms of how you should prep, like the rough outlines that you should follow. And I feel like today's insight will be really good to show you that as much as everybody's timelines may be slightly similar, the way that we're approaching the preps through the cardio protocols, the food, all varies massively from individual to individual. So I want to show you a little bit behind the scenes today, give you some live check-ins from the team and give you an insight to what shows we got lined up. So in no particular order, first up, we got Charlotte Knudsen. Now, Charlotte's doing PCA first timers in June, PCA Naturals in June, and then also the Natural Regional on the 5th of July. Charlotte's transformation from like when we first started to now has just been crazy. I'll get Mango to do the before and after first, which you can pop on the screen there. And you can see she had a great level of muscle before, but what we've done in that kind of coaching process before we prepped was literally just refine her physique. You can see she's got more density for her quads, more development to her glutes now, a little bit more shoulders as well, as you wanted that cap to really kind of bring together the wellness look. So you can see where she's at, I want to say 7 to 8 weeks in prep, and we're in a perfect spot right now. She's going to come in perfectly for the shows we got lined up. And one thing that's really cool about coaching Charlotte is where she's got so much density and size, the condition that we're going to be able to push through for her first season is going to be a really high level. So excited to see the rest of her prep unfold. So far it's been really smooth. Thinking about stats off the top of my head, currently we're just doing fasted morning steps with a weighted vest, food sitting at around 2-1 on a training day and 2,000 on a rest day. So we haven't gone kind of low that yet, but everything's been super smooth so far. We just refed when we needed to, but been getting kind of like a kilo or just under a kilo per week loss. So far all smooth. One thing that will be good to talk about, and I'm sure Charlotte won't mind me mentioning, is when we did our mock prep beforehand, I think about 3 or 4 weeks in, she did actually lose her cycle. And as of last week, she did lose her cycle, or we predict she has. So again, it's really good to show that I've got girls that are further on in prep than Charlotte, and they still have their cycles. So again, the individuality there is massive, and you can put all the precautions in place in terms of the fats in the diet, the lower expenditure protocols when it comes to the prep, but sometimes genetically you are going to be prone to that. So it's about either accepting that or putting changes in place to potentially amend that timeline if you need to. But back on track, as I say, we've got 3 shows lined up so far, potentially the Pro Qualifier, depending on how the prep goes, but we're just going to take the 2 first timer PCA shows as a warm-up, see how we get on, and then give the 2 bros a crack in July. Next up, we have Nicholas, which feels weird calling him Nicholas, as I usually call him Creed. I'll put his most recent check-in up on the screen now. Absolutely crazy physique for, 1, a natural athlete, 2nd, the fact that he's 24 as well. Potential is just crazy for bodybuilding. So this is my first season prepping him. We're going to be filming some behind the scenes episodes when he comes over to the UK post Barbados. And I'll save the backstory of how we met for then, as it's quite a good story to tell on video. So I'll save that for then. But so far, again, very smooth prep. We've been averaging kind of like 2 pounds a week. Some weeks we haven't lost, but we're averaging around 2 pounds. Now, where he's doing classic physique, we have got a weight cap to meet. So we are about 5 pounds away from that with 2.5 weeks to go. If we wanted to, we could pull off 5 pounds in a matter of a few days, just water manipulations and food, but we will hit that body weight, which will work perfectly for the look that we're aiming for by the time that we land in Barbados. And that's just around 2.5 weeks now. So as I say, he's looking on the money right now. The plan for us through the season is to do the PCA Naturals on the 18th. So that'll be the week when we get back. And then the following week after that, we've got the PCA Universe. So some really exciting shows lined up there. As I say, it's my first time coaching him, so I'm learning all about his body through this process. And one of the really cool things about coaching him so far is he can be pushed quite hard and his physique doesn't really get flat. Again, one of that's going to come down to the fact that he's got a lot of tissue there, so it's not really going to be flat because the calories are quite high. But as I say, all round it's been a really smooth prep so far. Going to run kind of like a trial peak for the UK shows. We won't need one in Barbados. And then it'll be a case of just amending that peak for the natural pro qualifiers when he comes back in July to give them a crack. So really exciting season ahead. Next, moving on to who was my first client on stage 2 years ago, which is really, really cool to kind of recap on. And the progress that she's made with that year off, you guys can see through the pictures. I don't even need to describe what we've done because the visual changes speak volumes. Obviously, leading up to this prep, we wanted this to be as smooth as possible. So we did do a pre-prep phase, as you would have seen from the Rise episode we did. So we're sitting in a position now where I think we've taken off 8 to 10 pounds across this full prep, and the looks just got continuously better. So no cardio so far, literally fasted steps. She is doing around 8K in the morning, so it is technically a form of cardio when you look at the intensity that we're doing them steps at for the duration, but just fasted steps to keep her legs as fresh as possible. We've now started doing a couple of refeed / high days and pulling steps back at weekends. The typical setup for her is we'll run baseline food Monday to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, take her foot off the gas a little bit, 8K steps, a little bit more food, and run that same process, which again is working so well for this prep this time round. What we did different this prep to last prep, that'll be good to cover, is before we had a lot more to come off. And I think we took off a total of around 32 to 35 pounds in our first prep together. For your first prep, you're never going to know how much you've got to come off. So that is something that we learned. And the way that her physique faded towards the natural pro qualifier wasn't a reflection of anything we did. It was literally just a case of she was in a deficit for that long that her body then wasn't as fresh as it would have been when we first started the season, because I think we had 28 weeks total. So again, that makes sense based on the time frame that we're in a deficit. So we plan to prep this time round to basically have less to come off. So the deficit wouldn't be as harsh. The body's not exposed to lower calories for a long period of time. And as I say, we've dropped 8 pounds, looking exactly where we need to for this first run of PCA shows. We've also got the amateur Olympia in Spain, which is going to be more so going there for the experience. Obviously, we want to see how we stand up against girls that aren't in the UK, as again, the look for wellness is forever changing. So we want to see how we stand in that show, have a good experience, and then come back for the natural pro qualifiers in July as well. So I'll put Paige's recent check-in pictures on here. We're updating our kind of WhatsApp group as we go, guys. So nothing crazy so far, but I'm sure we'll have Paige on just before the PCA show with Creed and give you guys a little bit of an update on where we're at, sitting close to them. Now, next up, we have Tina, who is going to be doing the Euromasters, the same show we did with Adriana last year. And coaching Tina is absolutely awesome. She's a complete workhorse. She's also a coach herself, works with a great bunch of clients, and watching her continuously come into this coaching process with slightly different methods from before is really, really cool to see the changes in her physique. We've used a slightly different supplement setup this off season. It's worked wonders. She's again just matured her physique. She doesn't need a crazy amount of size right now. It's literally just refinement in the right places. So we put a big focus on lats, big focus on capping of the shoulders, and we've done a perfect job through that short off season. She's just started a prep last week. We started coming down now. And as I say, we've got 2 bros lined up in, I think it's August. I had it written down here, one sec. No, October, sorry, October. Then we're going to do 1 PCA show in between, and then we're off to the Euromasters for physique and figure, potentially bodybuilding, depending on how the posing goes. But again, Tina's got a great physique in that she'll get peeled. So the condition requirements for them shows out there is going to match that quite well for all 3 categories. So we'll see how we get on. But I'm going to put some final off-season pictures from Tina up. As you can see, she's looking awesome and excited to get appealed for the first time. Now, next up, I have Kizzy, who's doing the first Pure Elite show of the year. I think she's doing about 6 or 7 categories, as they like to do different kind of ones for all different looks. So she's going to be doing that show first. We're then going to be doing her first 2 bro show, which is going to be exciting. And from working with Kizzy now, I'm excited for her to do a 2 bro show so she can get that self-belief that she's good enough. I think a lot of us as athletes always have that kind of feeling that, am I good enough for that federation? Am I good enough for that category? And the progress that we've made since working together, I'll get Manny to put that up. You can see she's leaner, she's harder, she's bigger. Improvements to the lower body, we've done a great job at as well. So really excited to see go through this season. Yeah, see how good she is and what she can achieve with a slightly different approach again to her previous prep. As I say, so far, we've also done a pre-prep phase. So she's looking in the condition that she is right now at around 11 weeks out. So we're in a perfect spot. Good prep plan. As I say, we've got the Pure Elite first, which will just be a show that she wants to do and will also be good fun for a trial peak, and then bring on the Two Bros show that we have planned in August. Next up is Phoebe. She's doing junior bikini in Two Bros and naturals for the PCA. And we've been working together for a very good chunk of time now. And we've done so many phases in preparation for this prep. It even got to a point last year when we was at the British finals, where I think she was around, I want to say 13 or 14 weeks into her mock prep. And we was debating whether to go into a show based on how good she looked. As a junior bikini athlete, incredible potential. And I'm thinking that this time round, she's going to have a completely different prep to the mock prep based on how we set things up. But I'll get Mango to put some up of her finishing mock prep pictures. As you can see there, we was probably sitting around 6 to 8 weeks out condition. So she's got the mentality to go all the way there. The physique maturity is there from the off season that we've done. So we've got a very exciting season lined up with, I'm going to pull up some of the dates we've got here. My sheet, 1 second. We're doing the Yorkshire in October, which was originally meant to be the naturals on the 27th and the 28th, but they changed the location. So we've had to rejig there date-wise. Then we're also going to do the Two Bros regional natural show, and then the France Pro qualifier at the end of the year. So we've got a cool season lined up, 3 shows to now to look for. I'll put her most recent check-in video up now as well. She's looking on the money and starts prep next week. Next up, we have Sinead, who's competed twice this season already, done incredibly well for the first 2 shows of the season. Now, the hard thing about Sinead's prep so far is that she's only had a chance to compete against 3 people. So it's been hard from a competitive standpoint for her to truly get like a full lineup to gauge her level of competitiveness. But in terms of everything we've done through her prep, would not change a single thing. And that's quite rare for me to say that as a coach, because I reflect on everything that we do through the full process. What could we have done different through the supplements we use, to the nutrition protocol, to the way that we've done the prep. And genuinely looking back through Sinead's prep, there is nothing that I would have done different. Obviously, we changed around our peaking for the Two Bros show, which we both agreed was the perfect look. But in terms of the actual prep process, we wouldn't have done anything different. Her first initial check-in to where she's at now is just mind-blowing. So that one's going to go up now. And you can see not just how she's evolved in terms of being a competitive athlete, how she's evolved in terms of her starting physique pictures, the mindset that it takes to go through that off-season process initially, then go through that prep process. She's somebody that's got all of the tools available to go as far as she wants in the sport, and all she needs right now is time. So we're going to enjoy this last show we got lined up, which is the Naturals one, hopefully for a good result in that one with a bigger lineup, then into a big off-season to slam on as much tissue as we can. Next, we have Adriana, who you guys have seen a lot of on the channel. We've done multiple videos preparing for the Euromasters, then the full Euromasters movie. Difference between previous season, and I'll actually go through all 3 seasons because I don't actually think I've done a video on this. I'll get Mango to put up, before we start the first prep, the second prep, and now the third prep, as she literally started prep last week. And again, for her, the main focus was to bring up the lower body, which over the course of the 2 seasons, it's only got better and better. And we had to have the hard conversation after the Euromasters of really reducing her upper body volume, her upper body training volume, because ultimately where she's got such a good training experience with them muscle groups, even if we put in the same amount of sessions per week and lower body, she would still be able to train that upper really effectively. And even though her lower would grow, it would grow as well as her upper body. So we've had to have a real change up in training split to make this work. But again, the tissue that she's got there now in her quads and from the glutes as well is very impressive for the short off season we've had. This is the first time we've ever been able to really nail a very good amount of food for her, which has honestly made all the difference. We had some GI issues post-show, which we've managed to resolve. And that's allowed us to get above 3,000 calories, which has just allowed her to train really effectively, get as strong as possible on the lower, and just recover really well through that process. So the physique we're going to have for this third time round is just going to be next level, as she always gets better through a prep as well and grows through that process because she's so responsive. In a matter of 6 or 7 weeks, we're really going to start to see that maturity of the lower body come through, which we've been working for. And we've only got 4 shows. I say 4 shows. We've only got 2 shows really lined up. 4 potentially, depending on how the first pro qualifier goes. Again, talking a little bit there about reflection, guys. We had a very good season last year. We unfortunately didn't get the result we wanted for the 1 show we needed. And this has been a big reflection for me as a coach, in that I would rather have an athlete not place at 2 regional shows, but then win the win the pro qualifier, than the other way around. And that lesson we had to learn last year, that we won pretty much every show we did, other than the Euromasters. So the physique was a little bit tired by the time we got there. So this time round, we're saying, okay, let's aim for the date that matters most and the result that we want the most, and anything else in between that is what it is. So we've planned out the season that way, to do the first regional on the 5th at the Open Show, and then the first pro qualifier a week after that. If it doesn't happen there, we're then going to Amsterdam, and they're going to be the 2 pro qualifiers that we're going to aim for. Moving on to Lauren, who's also a first-timer wellness athlete. She's doing the UK DFBA in September, and also the Naturals on the 27th and the 28th. I always call her Little Lauren, but she's not Little Lauren anymore, she's Big Lauren. So I'll get Mango to put her side by side on the screen for this one, as the progress she's made, again, not even in her physique, but as an athlete, is really cool to watch her go through that process. And I would argue getting results on stage is one of the coolest things as a coach that you can get. But second to that, and almost tie-in, is watching somebody grow as an individual and just become a genuine athlete through that process. Because I remember when I first started with Lauren, she wasn't really following a meal plan, was kind of training for enjoyment, not really specifically. Then from the minute we put the training in place, we got the nutrition now down to a T. She's just evolved completely. She's been on it every single check-in. She's never missed a check-in, every week, same time, like literally what you define as a perfect client. And her results reflect that. And this prep that we've done has been building for a long time. She did the Introduction to Wellness course, going through like all the mindset things that apply to the prep. So we've literally put everything in the right position to absolutely smash this now. So she started last week, and yeah, we're ready to do it, where there's nothing else we need to do other than just keep on the routine, keep to the habits that we built through this full off season, and wait for show day to come round. Next, we have Nova, who's doing the 28th of June first timers and the 27th of July PCA Naturals. Now, again, same with Nova as I said with Lauren. This prep has been building over the course of 8 to 12 months now. Everything that we've done through the off seasons, the mock prep we did, the diets, she's in the perfect position now to full send this. And watching her really enjoy this prep process has been the coolest thing for me, as it's always one way or the other. Someone either loves prep or they're a little bit resistant against that process. And Nova's fallen into it. She's done her cardio every single session. She's done all of her steps. She's trained through that full process whilst managing work. And the ratios that she has is like perfect for bikini. So where, I want to say as I'm recording this video, 9 weeks out now, and she's exactly where she needs to be. Physique's coming together completely. And I think the coolest thing for me is we've never seen her at this level of condition before. So every week she's checking in, it's like, okay, this is new. And we're just seeing new lines, new detail. We're literally on her prep every day with bodyweight weigh-ins coming over on WhatsApp, so we're monitoring everything to a T. And she's also had multiple refeeds through that process. So body's super responsive, no sign of pushback at all yet. And we literally put in post-team day a more aggressive set of kind of cardio changes and food changes just to bring us in a little bit early for that first show. So I'll get Mango to put her check-in up whilst I'm talking over this. And yeah, excited to watch her first shows come together. Next up is Shana, who's doing the PCA on the 15th of June, which is in Peterborough, and also the PCA Naturals on the 27th of July. Shana's got a crazy amount of muscle. She's trained for so many years and has also powerlifted, as you can see in, again, the density of her physique. I'll do her first before and after pictures first of all, and then also her recent check-in video. As you can see, she's got a perfect silhouette for wellness. She's got the development in the lower body. I had to pull her upper body volume down last week. So she took that well. But again, we want to make sure that we have got that lower body dominance. She's got a lot of muscle everywhere. So really trying to just level out that balance now as she gets more conditioned and as she gets leaner, to really, again, just kind of bring that perfected wellness look. So yeah, excited for her prep as well. And we'll have both of them kind of pictures and videos coming up now. Next up, we have Dimitra, who's made incredible progress in the off season that we've had post her last show. As you guys would have seen through the reel that we posted on her show day, she did very well in a tough lineup of wellness girls, and also had a tough lineup in Two Bros, to be fair, as well. So she's held her own in them lineups as a junior wellness athlete. And we are going to be trying out figure this time round, as she has got very good upper body proportions. So we're going to give that a go this year. She can also pose well. So with figure, you get a routine. So we are going to be doing a couple of figure shows first, potentially one wellness show, just to see how her physique's matured through that off-season process. I'm going to get Mango to put a before and after of what we've been able to achieve lower body-wise in this off-season phase, as that was the focus. And you can just see the thickness, the gaps we filled is just honestly a true representation of how hard she works. She's an air hostess, so she has to prep all of our meals for schedules that she doesn't necessarily know when she's going to get home, where she's traveling to, but she makes it work with no excuses, and really excited to see how she gets on with this different category and also see the difference from the previous season look to this year's look. Next is Lisa, who is my first fit model client. So really excited to prep a fit model client and also at the same time really see what they're looking for in terms of the look. So the way we've got her peak planned is actually kind of the reverse to what I usually do. Whereas in a normal peak, we're trying to get as dry as we can, as hard as we can. With Fit Model, they're not necessarily looking for that dry, hard look. So we're kind of going to do a reverse peak. We're going to leave the carbing up towards 1 or 2 days pre-show, and then obviously increase the water intake, increase the sodium intake. So once we've got to the desired condition at the start of the week, we're then going to kind of get a little bit softer, but still hold the condition that we've obviously achieved through the prep. So we've got 2 shows lined up. We have the 17th of May and also the 5th of July Naturals. So we've got a good gap between the shows to get positive feedback, action that within the time frame, and really kind of correct that look to get it perfect for what they're looking for Fit Model. So it's going to be really interesting. Lisa's also a coach herself, so she's leading a great team of mums right now as well. So she's leading from the front, showing them all how it's done and that you can manage it around being a busy mum. So excited to see how she gets on. She's got great shape for the category, so it'll just be a case of doing everything we can through the full prep and the peak and then seeing what happens come show day. Next up is Nicole, and Nicole's from the USA. So I'm going to be peaking her online, and she's also great friends with Lily, who I had win her first wellness show last year. And it's funny, when I first met Nicole, she was filming Lily's show. So she was doing all the footage for me. She was FaceTiming me and going through it. And 6 months later, we then started working together for an off-season phase, and she's now ready to go into her first figure prep. And like I mentioned earlier about the coolest thing being a coach is not just seeing that athlete go through that prep and achieve the result they want, but is seeing the maturity of them from when they started to as they or before they prep. And Nicole's a prime example of that. I think when she first started, she was, I'm sure she won't mind me saying, there was days where she wouldn't stick on a meal plan for more than 2 days, or she wouldn't be able to get her steps in. Whereas through the back end of this off season, everyday steps have been met, meals have been prepped, she's been on plan, and her physique progress reflects that as well. And she's now built all the habits in the right place. She's now stuck to everything. She's posing relentlessly. So she's got everything she needs now to smash this first prep. And we start as of this coming Monday. So excited to see how her full prep goes. She's again got everything tool-wise she needs to smash this. So really excited to watch it come together and her smash her first OCB show on the 11th of August. Next up is Jen. And I was going to say Jennifer, but I never called Jen. So we'll go with Jen. Now, Jen's prep's been a really interesting one. And this is going to be good to cover as much as we talk about time frames and timelines, Jen's prep hasn't necessarily started the way that we intended it to. And again, we can do everything from an athlete perspective and a coach perspective to make the process go as quote unquote smooth as possible. We did a pre-prep phase or mock prep to see how her body responded, and her body's responded differently in this prep to how it did before. So it's been a brand new learning activity for us. And we have amended the first set of shows that we had planned to later on down the year. And again, this is a conversation we had to have, and I'm so grateful that Jen's as mature as she is, that she understands this isn't a reflection of me saying she's not working hard enough or something's gone wrong. It's simply saying that for her to bring her best, which she's worked so hard to achieve, it's going to mean potentially extending that prep, which again, for somebody that's returning to the stage, a timeline is a guide for shows. It doesn't have to be, we're definitely doing this show. So we agreed to push shows back to kind of August, September time. And funny enough, when we did that, everything started clicking. Everything's working flawlessly in terms of the cardio now, the steps, her body's responding. So it just goes to show that sometimes you can put all the plans and procedures in place to make a prep go smooth, but sometimes your body's not quite ready to just get stuck into that process yet. And Jen's prep was a prime example, but I'm going to get some pictures to go up now from when we first started working together to a couple of weeks ago. So you can see the density, the maturity in her physique has leveled up massively, and now the body's playing ball. we're really getting to see all the work that we put in the off season come together. So very excited for her prep. She's also crazy busy every day, but still manages to get all that she needs to done. And as I say, just can't wait to see her up on stage this year and redeem her look from last season. Last but not least, I have Charlotte Savory, who's also been with me a fair amount of time. I want to say a year and a half, coming up to 2 years now. And the progress she's made, not only just in her physique and through this prep, but also as a coach herself, is really admirable to me, because I know how hard it is to manage not just your own training, nutrition, and prep, but also your online clients, your clients in person. She's done a great job at setting her schedule out daily to get all of that done and still make incredible progress for her prep. She's again had a pretty flawless start to prep. We have got cardio in around 40 minutes 3 times a week, so we are getting there on that side of things now. But in terms of the diet side, we're still on an okay amount of calories. Her physique's coming in week to week. And the most impressive thing is her before and after pictures. So I'm going to get Mango to put them up on the screen as well. And you guys can see from where she started to where she is now, the muscle that she's built, the condition that she's now getting through this prep is absolutely crazy. So we've got lined up the 29th of June Naturals and also the 5th of July Naturals. So really excited to watch her prep unfold. And also, I'm going to go into this after, is her and Nova also train at the same gym and they're good friends. So watching them two really kind of thrive in that support network they've created between each other through this full prep is honestly so cool to see, as they're both thriving through the process, making incredible changes week to week. And I can imagine that positive competition that they have between each other, it's both spurring them on up until show day. So really excited for the full team, guys. We've got a crazy year lined up. Genuinely buzzing every day to get onto these check-ins, because you can see through the results that the team are getting that everybody's all in on all this. There's no moaning, there's no pushback at all. Everybody wants the result just as much as I want the result, and enjoying the process as much as I'm enjoying taking them through it. So stay tuned for this season, guys. When I say we're going to make waves as a team, we are. So stay tuned for the show day videos, and it will be cool to do a recap on this at the end of the season to see how everyone got on.